So after Unit 1 and Unit 2, the obvious next step is Unit 3. And today we're going to be talking about creating competitive advantage. But right before we get started, as per usual, let's do a short little quiz to see if uh, to see how we'll, how we will be learning or what we should focus on for the next couple minutes as far as question goes. So let me just do this here. Okay, so for Abdul and Jitin, you'll start seeing a pop up for the a polling question show up, so that you can put your answers right there and then in just a few seconds. But in the meantime, you can read the question, maybe ask ChatGPT. Actually, don't ask ChatGPT, but let's see. Answer A, B, C, and D. Okay, so if you guys are logged in from your phones, you'll see a pop up just momentarily. So just be ready, and it should show up just about now. Okay, so what's competitive advantage? A, B, or C? Attribute allowing a business to underperform to
I'm just
perform.
seeing Q answer.
Yeah, sorry, it's it's a typo. Oh, do you see the like A, B, C, or D?
I'm just seeing ABCD, but I'm not seeing the question.
Oh, the question is on the screen.
On another screen.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I can read it for you. So the question is, what is competitive advantage? Answer A is attribute allowing a business to underperform, or B, attribute allowing a business to perform equally to competitors. C, attribute allowing a business to outperform competitors, and D, attribute unrelated to business performance.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So there's people trying to join. So let me just, we'll do the vote. So everybody voted here. I only see one person voting here. Okay, two. Okay, so I'm about to close it in 5 seconds. If you don't know, it's okay. There's no repercussions to this. It's just a way to engage ourselves. So I'm closing it this right now. And right before we jump to the next question, let me just add the other people that are trying to join. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, admin, admit. Uh, is anybody here on their computer or everybody's on their phone?
I'm on computer.
Computer. Jiden, do you mind if I make you a co-host so that you can just have an eye out for people that are trying to join while I'm talking? Because I just have too many things going on right now.
Sure. Yes.
I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Add as co-host. Okay, perfect. So yeah, you should be getting a notification if someone tries to join. Okay, so the answer is
Okay.
C. Whoever answered C, good job. We'll just do two questions and then we'll get started here. So, what is not one of Porter's generic strategies? Is it overall cost leadership, differentiation, diversification, or focus? And I will load the question here. A, B, C, or D. Launch. All right, so you should see the notification pop up right now. What is not one of Porter's strategies? Hmm. I prepare for this, and even I don't know the answer. Oh goodness. All right. So are we ready? I only have one answer, guys. Someone answer. Okay, so two people answered. Going once, twice. Final answer? Okay, ending. So we have A and C. And the answer is C. Okay, good. So at least we have an idea of where we stand. The good news is we'll have all the understanding and the answers in just a few seconds here. So bear with us. So today we're looking at let me move this here. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda for today. And let me close that. So obviously we're going to define what competitive advantage is. I think most of you guys, or the two people that answered, had it right. It's how you outperform in a market, but I'll give you the right definition after this. And then we'll see what factors impact competitive advantage. So how do we gain competitive advantage as far as the book is concerned, because I'm pretty sure there's other ways to gain competitive advantage. We'll take a look at TQM, and then we'll have a discussion exercise. Now, there's a few things to cover in here. We might not go through all of them in depth for the whole session of today, and that's why we have Wednesday to go into some deep dives. So thankfully, we can use that if we are out of time or not. Anyways, as far as competitive advantage is, the definition is here. It's an attribute, and it allows the business to outperform. You know, how do you become competitive? And it's kind of self-explanatory too, because it's competitive advantage, right? And so some examples are, if you have a newer technology or if you have a rare resource. Yeah, go ahead, Jin.
I don't think I can see the screen. I don't know about others.
Oh.
I can only see the answer page.
Okay. Sorry about that. Stop presenting. Let me try one more time. How about now?
Yes.
Everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
The screen is visible to me. Okay. Andrew, you can talk too, huh? We're not that many people, so you can unmute your mic, and then, if you can also, if you're comfortable with showing yourself, do show yourself. It's just easier and more personable and human to see your face instead of a photo and a voice, right? So, and welcome, Abdulhamid. We can see you now. I don't know if your microphone works. Can you hear us? You probably can hear us.
Yes, yes,
perfect.
I can hear you.
Awesome. And where are you from, if you don't mind us asking?
I'm from Guinea-Conakry.
Guinea-Conakry. Perfect. Okay. So we have some Eastern African, some Western African. We have Europe and Canada for me. Andrew, if I remember, it's Tanzania or Uganda? Oh, we cannot hear you, Andrew. Yeah, still cannot hear you. Still cannot hear you, but that's okay. I think you might have to rejoin or join again or something. But do you guys remember where Andrew was from? It was Kenya, right? Or Uganda? Nobody else remembers?
Zimbabwe, I think.
Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, Cameroon. Okay. Okay, so West. Okay, cool. So moving on. So competitive advantage. So the book shows you this diagram. I'll quickly explain this if you guys don't quite understand. So I like to see this as two axes. From bottom to up is how what your scope is. I think in the book it talks about the strategic scope, right? So if your strategic scope is narrow, you're competing in a small market. If your strategic scope is narrow, small market is broad, then you're competing in a big market. And the other axis is your strategic strength. And so if you're strategically strong, then you're competing in a low-cost competency market. Did I say strong? So if it's weak, you want to go with low-cost competency. If it's strong, then you want to go with uniqueness. So the book talks about these three things, But after doing a bit of research on what Porter came up with, it's actually 4, and this is actually true as well, because the other 4 are the same components, but it's just more focused on a narrow market. We'll get to that once we get to the discussion exercise. But essentially what it says is, if you want to gain competitive advantage, there's 3 ways. According to this graphic, it's 3 ways, but it's really 4. You can go become very competitive on price, and this is called cost leadership. If you're in a big market, your strategy is called cost leadership strategy. If you're in a smaller market, narrow market, is called cost focus strategy. So you're focusing just on cost in your niche market. If you are, on the other side, if you want to compete with another strategy called differentiation, you want to be as unique as possible. And if you're in a big market, it's called differentiation strategy. If you're in a smaller market, it's called differentiation focus. So far, so good, guys? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Good. All right. And so now that we know what competitive advantage is, what are the factors that can give us a competitive advantage? According to the book, there's 2 factors that give us competitive advantage. One is they talk about the Delta model. The other one is the value chain. So the Delta model is, actually, I'll start with the value chain. Anybody familiar with the value chain? Obviously, the value chain, sorry. Obviously, the diagram is here, but who is familiar with this?
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jitin, Abdul, is Andrew here?
No.
No?
No.
Peter, do you want to quickly summarize what the value chain is without reading this?
Yes.
With
The
your own-
value chain is basically what you will add on your brand or business. For example, what kind of value you're giving to the market, and that your competitor is not giving to that kind of product. If you're competing with the same competitor like you. So if you are having a business, just simply you having the store and your competitor have a store, then you put the coffee machine in your store, then the people is gonna come to buy the coffee. So this is your add value in your business.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. If somebody else wants to add to it, maybe complement or has their own view of how they see value chain? Nobody? Okay. So yes, you're right, Peter. I think I would even go as far as explaining it with this example. So let's say we're all wearing clothes, right? So at the first, what's the first step in you producing clothes? What is the first step? You need material.
Supplier.
Yeah, your supplier. Yes. But okay. So this would be here. I don't know if it's big enough or if you can see, but inbound logistics, right? And by inbound logistics, we're talking about the raw material that you need. If it's cotton, silk, or whatever. And then all the steps that are added. So after you you put it in the machine. I don't even know how it's done. But anyways, there's some steps to go from raw material to final t-shirt or final sweater or whatever. All these steps add value to your product or your service. And so that's what is meant by the value chain. There's the operation step, there's the outbound logistics. So once it's out of your factory, where it goes to the retail stores, there's value there. Obviously, the sales and marketing adds value to it because you're spending stuff on it. And then the service is, if something happens to your shoes, or okay, maybe the shoes, no, but if something happens and you call customer service, that's another value chain. And so each step adds more cost to obviously your product or service. And essentially you need to work this way out so that you can maximize your margins, your profit margin. And so that's why this is one factor that affects your competitive advantage, because some people maybe can get their raw materials at a very low price, which gives them enough leeway to maybe spend more on marketing or more on services or more or less on any other steps. And with that, you also have these 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever is in red. These are called supporting activities. So you have a procurement, you know, how people are going to get the right resources, either human or material, to your factory. There's technology side, HR, and the firm is infrastructure. And we've talked about the infrastructure in, I think, unit 1 or 2, all the aspects of an actual firm. So that's the value chain, and that's how you can use it to create competitive advantage. On the other side, there's the Delta model. So this guy, I think his name is Armando Hox or Hox, H-O-X or X. Anybody familiar with this? Did anybody read the Delta model side or not?
I do not.
No? Okay. So essentially, this guy, he around the same time with Michael Porter. By the way, Michael Porter is the one that came up with this. He came up with so many things in business, by the way. And Hacks is just another guy that came up with this. And he said, instead of, focusing on the firm and how you can make the firm as awesome as possible, shift your focus into the customer and how you can better your system or your firm just around the customer. And so the Delta model has 3 main areas of focus that translate into your business as business operations strategy. I'll start with the top. Actually, I'll start with the bottom, and then we'll go with the top. So one aspect is the total client solution. So essentially, you just want to focus all about the experience of your customer, how they come to you. Maybe your systems are so well connected that you know everything about the customer, that they don't have to repeat themselves when they come to you. I can't think of any other example, but think of the total client solution as maximizing the customer experience in a positive way so that the customer doesn't grow frustrated at you or just finds things to do easily with you when working with your firm. The next force or aspect about the Delta model is focusing on the best product or service that you have. So you want to make sure that it's good quality. Basically, it is the best. And cost is also implied in here. So either by the best price or by the most unique product offering that you have. And the last thing is sector lock-in, but similar to system lock-in. The best example I can use for this is the Apple ecosystem. System lock-in essentially is a way to get the customer in your network or your ecosystem so that if they decide to change, the cost to change is just so high that they're locked into your system. Does that make sense, guys? Think of if you buy an Apple phone and you have a Windows PC, there's a lot of friction if you want to use the Apple device with your Windows computer. If you have an iPad, is also a lot of friction. But if you have everything Apple, things are just so much better, so much easier, and they seamlessly interconnect with each other. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
So think about that as system lock-in. You want to create an ecosystem, a universe basically, that is working so well within your universe. And if the customer is going to change, you want to make it as hard, as painful as possible so that they stay with you. So I believe in the book, or also in some of the research I saw, Windows did the same thing. So Apple obviously is a great example. Samsung or Intel is doing that too. You cannot put an Intel chip, correct me if I'm wrong, but you cannot put an Intel chip, or it doesn't work well with another or AMD. Any tech people? Who's the engineer? I think Andrew is the engineer, right? You cannot use an Intel chip with an AMD chip, right? The system is just completely different. Or am I wrong?
Yes, but I don't know if you guys are hearing me now.
Yeah, we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. In fact, some companies, they have their own architecture, the type of processors they use, and all of those things. You know, it is like they used to say, I want my technology to be working only on what I produce, something like that. It's just
Exactly.
like explain the case with Apple. Yes, you cannot, for example, take a Windows operating system to integrate. In fact, it is possible, but it is really difficult things like so. In fact, it's just a matter of business.
Yeah, similar. So that's system lock-in. Okay, so I've explained to you, hopefully it makes sense, but these are two factors that can create competitive advantage in your firm. System lock-in and Porter's value chain. And so this is more in depth. We can also delve deeper on Wednesday for this, but it's really straightforward. It's similar to what I just showed before. These are all the elements of the value chain. Yeah, so support activities, primary activities in orange, and your gross sales, and your goal is to maximize your revenue. These are the elements of the Delta model, and as I mentioned before, so after you have the system locked in, total customer solution, and best product, these are ideas for now when you take a look at this, but this is how it translates into your operations management strategy, right? So because you want to adapt the triangle of the Delta model, you'll have a strategy around operational effectiveness, and this essentially links the total customer solution to side of the Delta model into your operation strategy. You have your customer targeting, which makes it very linked to the best product, and innovation is system locked in. If that doesn't make sense, or if you want more examples or more details on this, the additional reading from the lesson course talks in depth about it. And you can also Google Hox, H-O-X, Delta model. He refined it a little bit more recently. Okay. So these were the two factors that were presented to us as far as affecting competitive advantage. Now there's the other thing called TQM, Total Quality Management, and just a little story before we get into this. How it started is so after the Second World War. Most of the countries besides the US were really messed up, as you all know. But Japan and most Asian countries, or like the top Asian countries, namely Japan, were doing so well in the 80s, 70s, and the Americans were trying to figure out why they were so efficient and not them. And so after looking at how Japan was working or implementing their philosophies of work and all that, this guy Edwards Deming said in a documentary with NBC, I believe, he said, if Japan can do it, why can't we? And so he's the one we credit the TQM, Total Quality Management framework to. And the total quality management essentially is very linked to what the Japanese were doing, which is a strategy framework that revolves around teamwork. So there's 7 aspects. There's all these aspects: the customer focus, communication, continuous improvement, blah blah blah. But they all focus around how to be as efficient as possible and continuously improving themselves. And that's what made the firm grow and gain competitive advantage. So yeah, This promotes continuous quality. Any questions or any clarification on that before we go take a look at the elements of TQM? Is someone saying something? No. Okay. All right. So these are the elements. Very straightforward. I'm not going to go into depth in this, unfortunately, because it's all written in the book. But if you want to take a look at, or because the next example we have is going to be revolving around using some of the examples here, what sort of business tool or business strategy or company can you think of that started doing, and this time this is for all of us so that we can all participate, but think of a business that implemented maybe a focus on customer within their company, and how did that give them a competitive advantage? I was going to say I'll go first, but I've been talking for about 30 minutes, so I'll let the next person just come up with, just think of a business that has implemented at least, or where you've seen a business using any of these elements to better themselves. Come on, guys. Sounds like we're a bit asleep today. What's going on? Is it because it's what time is it over there anyways? Where are you guys at?
No, it's just 6:36 here. Yeah.
6:30? Okay, 6:30 in Cameroon.
And
What time is it in Guinea?
No, I'm not in Guinea, but I'm in Egypt, 7 p.m.
Oh, 7 p.m. Egypt, okay.
Yes.
Similar with Jitin, right? I believe, time zone wise.
What?
It is 8:37 p.m. here.
Oh, 8:30, okay. So what time is it in your place, Pilar?
It's 8:30.
Oh, 8:30, okay.
Hmm.
Are you guys like falling asleep? Are you guys tired or what? Or you're just tired of frameworks and strategies and strategy planning or whatever, all these fancy words. Okay, so I can define a little bit of those if you'd like, so that it makes more sense. So communication, for example, we can start with communication in the TQM. So essentially, okay, so think about, so we're all familiar with how efficient Japanese companies are, right? Think of Toyota. Somebody give me another example of a Japanese company.
Honda, they're using 3GS system, Gimba model.
3GS?
Yeah, Gimba, Gamba, and something called G, one more. So it's 3G system, what they're using, and Mackenzie system also.
I think your microphone is
Can you
either
hear me?
too close. Yeah, I can hear you, but I didn't quite
You know those 3G models, what they're using in Japan, like Gimba, Gamba, and what is no other one? It's a famous system what they're doing with the quality.
3G model.
Yes.
Japan. No, I don't know. What company is using that?
It's Honda is using it. It's a famous system, everyone. I will show you.
I don't
There
know
is
it.
a book. There is in Unit 2.
Ah, okay.
Go Unit 2, just go
Yes. Muda Wastaga. Muda Watag. This is the one, right?
Japanese management, yeah.
Okay.
No, what is that?
What has been decided?
This is 3K. No, the 3G is different. I will
Oh,
let you know.
oh wow, the 3K. Okay. Oh wow.
There is the 3G, yeah. Gimba, Gamba, and that's the one.
Okay, so go to the spot, check fact and figures, examine the object. And why do you use this for?
They basically trying to create the workplace as not just the work for employees, but they're trying to combine everything: religion, well-being inside in the work, and even their family. They're including their family. So managers are not sitting in their office; they're going always to see directly in operation with the workers. Also, they're going through the suppliers
Yeah.
and creating like one family unit.
Huh. Wow.
There is a second too. I read it. It's really, really, really nice how they explain actually here in Sailor Academy.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. I mean, this is just another example of how the Japanese are just awesome with their way of working and thinking. But
I like it because the American people want to see why they are so successful, and they're using this McKinsey system. If you're familiar with it.
success, right?
Yeah, no, McKinsey 7-6.
Oh, 7. Yeah.
You know that. Let me just find. Where is that? I think it's in session number 2. Developing vision and vision.
Do you guys know what we're talking about with the McKinsey 7S framework? Everybody else?
I have no idea.
Okay. Let's quickly. We have a bit of time, so we'll just quickly touch this. I don't know if you want to cover this since you started it, Peter. I'll show you. I'll show the diagram.
Okay, you can do that. I don't want.
So I'm not super familiar with this. I've just heard about it. I wish I did a lot of reading for it beforehand, but it's just another strategic planning framework that looks at these 7 aspects of your organization to be able to help you make a well thought out strategic plan. So looking at your firm's skill set, looking at your strategies, your firm structure, your systems, your people, and your style. I think style relates to also the culture, and then your shared values, and then from there you formulate your strategic plan. That's how far I know. I'm not super in depth with this, but all this to say, there's going to be a lot of frameworks that we're going to be learning. Lots of tools. Somebody said something. Lots of tools and frameworks that we're going to be learning, especially even after this class. And so we need to be able to start applying these frameworks in, for example, identifying them in the real world is one thing, but also applying it and seeing what moving part is involved so that we can apply it. Because as we've mentioned before, I believe Unit 2, you can have the most amazing strategy, but if your implementation is terrible, then you're not going anywhere, right? So, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Maybe Wednesday we can develop these things a little bit more. So, I've done a lot of talking. Let's discuss about something here. Let's pick a company. Actually, I did pick some companies. Actually, let's do that. So first, let's read this. We're gonna pick some companies and then analyze how they manage to gain a competitive advantage and using what tool. And then we'll just start exchanging ideas or insights so that we have a better perspective, not just one perspective coming from me, right? And I think we're so diverse right now, and I'm sure whatever is going to come out of this will be very insightful. So, so earlier I told you how Michael Porter came up with this these competitive advantage tools, right? You have let me just go back to it. So he defined how you can gain competitive advantage. So you can either segment, either in a big or small market. You can compete on price or uniqueness, essentially. Does everybody know what segmentation means? Can someone define segmentation for us? Come on, guys.
I don't know.
What about G10 or Abdul?
Actually, today I wasn't prepared.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
Okay. All right. Peter, do you know what segmentation is? You're muted. I can't unmute you.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just read, but I think if I remember it, if you are having like, if you are having a company, is that about this drive? If you're having 640 GB drive and another one is 500, then it's not. Or I make some.
Not really. So
Well,
yes,
no,
this
this is competitive advantage.
yeah, that's
But
competitive
this-
advantage. But the definition of segmentation is, so the raw explanation is, let's say you have, I don't know if with my background you'll be able to see this pen. Okay, so you see this pen. If I
Yes.
if I decide to segment this pen, essentially I'm cutting it into pieces. So this is one segment, this is another segment, and this is another segment. That's what segmentation is. And so when they talk about segmentation strategy, is that instead of focusing on the whole thing, you're going to focus on a small part and be the best at it. That's what we call segmentation.
the small part in what particularly?
Exactly. So in what particular do you want? So you take the whole market and then you segment it. And then,
Market, yeah.
yeah,
Segment the market. Then.
you segment the market, and then you're gonna,
Even if they're focused on one niche.
yeah. So you take the market, you segment it, and then you either focus on being unique, or you focus on being low cost. So that's what Porter is saying. Porter is saying all the firms out there, all the firms that are profitable and competitive, they have either a cost competitive advantage or a differentiation competitive advantage. And if you want to develop that more, is they're making their product or service at such a low price that their profit is so high. So that's why they're successful. Or they are in the market where they are the number one in, I'll define that even more in our example. It will make more sense here. Sorry, here. Okay, so this will make a lot more sense. So again, keep in mind what Porter said, right? You can compete on cost or differentiation. Differentiation is essentially how unique are you? Just think about that. Okay, differentiation, how unique, how different are you? So and yeah, so you can look at the entire market or a segment of the market, a part of the market. So let's take a look at Bic. Everybody knows this pen, right?
Yeah.
The Bic. You've either used it once in your life or you're still using it.
Yeah.
So this is an example of a company that couldn't be beaten on cost. They made it in the cheapest way possible and quickly was adopted by everybody. Everybody had a Bic pen. Why? Because it's the cheapest and it's good quality too. But this is an example of them taking the entire pen market and being the number one based on cost. Make sense for everyone? So this is an example again of a company that took at the entire pen market because they have the big pens, all the colors. What other things they do? Big.
They're doing Gillette.
Is it Gillette?
Shavings. for shaving.
Yes, yeah. Bic or Gillette, yeah. Let me just. So it's not just cheap. Yeah, shavings, yeah. Lighters, of course. Lighters, pen, yeah. So same idea, right? Very cheap everywhere. Nobody can beat them. So that's why they have a competitive advantage, because they are competing on cost. Nobody can beat that. Let's go over to this brand, Louis Vuitton. What stops me from just taking a piece of paper, putting L and then V on it, and then selling it for $10,000 a piece or a bag, right? The example here, Louis Vuitton, is they took the entire market, but they made themselves so unique, their brand so high that people can compete, but that's how they made themselves unique. Do you guys know the story behind Louis Vuitton? How they got so?
I know.
Yeah, can you share, or can somebody else
Yeah.
share?
Actually, that was the company of the guy who was invented the suitcase, as I remember, and he made the best suitcase at that time.
Mhm.
And eventually, the company get broke because these two guys making something dodgy in his company, and then they bought the company after that. Something like
So that's what happened. Okay, no, I didn't know. I
I
didn't know.
watched the video recently on the YouTube about that.
Okay, interesting.
So that's not the original company. The owners are not the original one. He sold the company.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
But
would
it
make.
was famous because of suitcase. He made that wooden suitcase. Remember when it was in 19th centuries? They used to have the suitcase, the wooden one.
Mhm.
And in that time, the train it was invented, and many people used to travel, and they was looking for where to put their clothes. And he invented that suitcase with the wheels, but it was the wooden one because all people used to carry them,
Mhm.
and it was unpractical for them to put on the train.
Yeah.
And he was the one who actually made it for the wooden and put the small wheels on that suitcase, and that's why he became famous.
Okay. Interesting. Now I want to watch that video. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Peter.
You can Google. You can just type in YouTube the history
Yeah.
of Louis. So.
Okay. Yeah. So that's an example of a company that went very distinct and made themselves unique in that market so that they can be competitive, right? With all the intellectual property that comes with it, et cetera, et cetera. So whenever you're looking, when you see the word differentiation, think or someone that has a competitive advantage based on differentiation. Think of how they manage to justify their cost or their price just by being so unique. Okay. On the other side, so these were for big markets, right? So entire market of pens, Gillette, and all that stuff. Bags. Louis Vuitton doesn't just make bags. There's also the clothing and all that stuff. So it's a huge market. They didn't have time to segment it, right? Well, I mean, obviously they started with that, but they grew into a big entire market. Now, what?
Yeah, they also Hennessy, Louis Vuitton Hennessy.
Oh,
So
that I don't know. To be
that they own the Hennessy. So the company is called LVHA, the Louis Vuitton and Hennessy.
and Hennessy. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
the name of the company, the full name of the company.
Thank you for that. Again, I didn't know that. That's great. Okay, so now we're moving on to, so we looked at the entire market, so the broad scope, broad strategy. Now, a more narrow strategy is by segmenting the market. And so within the beverage sector, there's this energy drinks market, niche market, for specific types of people that are looking to get these type of drinks. This is how Monster decided to compete by making by lowering their cost to produce those energy drinks, and that's how they gain a competitive advantage. Likewise, in the same industry, beverage, or sorry, beverage is the big one. If you narrow it down, you have you have alcoholic beverage, you have fruits, healthy beverage, and everything, and you have energy drinks. Similarly, G Fuel. Do you guys? Did anyone try or used G Fuel?
G Fuel.
G Fuel, yeah. Usually you see that if people are like gym folks. I don't know if they still do it though, but essentially they saw what Monster did. That's how it started. So they saw what Monster did, and they copied them. So they're like, okay, Monster went to the beverage, and then they just made sure that their cost was as low as possible so that they can be everywhere and gain the competitive advantage. I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time, instead of producing the beverage and everything, we're just gonna use a powder, and this will just save us so much manufacturing cost because we don't have to deal with the liquids and everything. We'll just do the powder and then sell it. And so that's how G Fuel became unique in that market, and that's how they gained a competitive advantage. Okay? So this is an example of how companies employed Porter's theories around gaining a competitive edge. So I hope this makes a bit more sense. Obviously, I would encourage you to go through maybe the lessons, read through it so that it stays in your mind. Maybe you rewatch this recording, but it will take some time so that you're familiar with these types of concepts or seeing things. But just as a key takeaway message for today, at least, if you didn't take anything from today, at least take this. Competitive advantage is something that makes you outperform against your peers, okay, your rivals. And there's ways to gain this, according to Porter, is through cost or uniqueness or differentiation. And then how you focus on it. Either you're focusing on the entire market or you're focusing on a niche market. Avoid the hole in the middle. Yes, okay, so I didn't talk about that today. But Porter also said in his, so there's a book he wrote called Competitive Advantage. He said, firms that are not competitive. Oh, sorry, my mouse is here, and this whole time I'm just looking. Okay, so firms that have a big market share, so on this side, and are successful, they're either competing on cost or uniqueness, right? Firms that are in a smaller market share but still very profitable, same thing, cost or uniqueness. But those that are not successful and struggling are really in the middle because they can't figure out whether they want to go with the cheapest way of doing their products or services or being unique. So you don't want to be in the middle. You want to pick a zone, right? You need to know where you are and then decide where to go. Just avoid being in the middle because you're gonna die. So that's what is meant by avoiding the hole in the middle. Value chains are each steps that a product or service takes from start to finish, and as the steps go, the value increase. TQM is a framework that helps firms build more on teamwork and become more efficient in their work, because it's this whole idea of continuous improvement is involved, and there's all these 7 aspects that I really didn't want to go over because it's just too long, but the main idea is continuous improvement, and each step, each part talks about it. So the communication, the infrastructure, culture, and all that stuff, and that's pretty much it. So let's see how we're going to be doing on the quiz this time. So we can do the next 3 questions. In the Delta model, which is the source of competitive advantage? What do you guys think? Oops. Any answers?
Supplier power.
Sorry, wait. I just lost everyone here. Okay, I see you now.
Isn't that supplier power?
Which source is a competitive advantage? System
Be
lock-in.
Total customer experience.
Yeah, but okay, remember delta model is the triangle, right? So in the triangle, you have your system lock-in at the top, you have your best product, best customer experience, and then your best product. So the delta models consider which source of competitive advantage. System lock-in, supplier power,
System locking.
system lock-in.
System.
Okay, so we have supplier power and system lock-in. Abdul and Andrew, what do you guys think?
I think it is
I'm just
subsystem.
following up.
System lock-in? System lock-in.
Yes.
Good job, guys. So the answer is A. So let's go to question 4. What does the value chain depict? What does it mean? If you know the answer, just say it. A path, creation and delivery, organizational reporting structure, industry supply and demand, employee development process.
A.
Yeah.
A, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's the steps
Yes.
from start to finish. Good job, guys. Yeah, it's A. All right, so let's do the last one, which is not one of the 7 elements of TQM. Okay, we didn't go over them, so if you're wrong, it's fine.
C.
Shareholder primacy, yeah,
C.
yeah, C, because,
Shareholder primacy.
yeah. Good job, guys. Good job. So far, A+. Okay. 2 more questions and we're done. Differentiation strategy involves what? Providing the lowest cost product, targeting a very narrow market, offering innovative products with higher perceived value, or acquiring suppliers to control value chain. Differentiation. Remember, differentiation. Differentiation was like the
C. Offering innovative.
Mhm.
good job. Yes. Okay, last question. How can the value chain create competitive advantage? A, by addressing less value at each step than competitors, by involving fewer steps than competitors, by adding more value at each step than previous step, by outsourcing low value add steps. Ah, that's a tough one. How can you create value, competitive advantage?
For B, by involving fewer steps than competitors.
Fewer steps. Okay. Somebody else?
Adding more value at each step than previous step.
Sorry, more step than previous step? Which one? A?
C. C.
Oh, C. I think it's C as well, because that's how you create more value, right? So if you look at this, oh, sorry. Yeah, so we're done with this. If you look at the value chain, right? Each step of the way, you want to add more value. I mean, it does add more value, right?
Mhm.
Each step of the way. And the more value you add in here, and I say value, right? You will have your margins higher, right? That's what makes your product even better. So that's why it's how you create a competitive edge is by adding more value each step of the way. Okay, guys, that was it for today. Tomorrow, Wednesday. Wednesday, we might go into some deep dives as far because it doesn't look like we at least for the TQM, for example, knowing a bit of these concepts and how to identify them, I think would be helpful. What do you guys think?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Unit 4 is the second to last. Maybe we'll have time to start that. Otherwise, it will be next week, and then we'll go from there. Cool. Any questions, any clarifications, anything you guys want to share or talk about before we end?
I'm cool.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Well,
I have,
what was that?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, but the question is not that much oriented towards what you have done, but
Yeah.
towards I'm just trying to give direction to what I'm doing.
Yes.
I want to start with this MBA, but there are many like background core knowledge that I lack. So I don't know among those things if anybody can give me advice on things I can mainly focus on.
Yeah. What do you guys think, Peter or Jiten?
To give him, I didn't get him exactly what he's saying. I
Yes.
cannot hear you well.
Mm,
So Andrew, you're saying that. So he's saying that. So as you know, he has a more of an engineering background,
Okay.
very little business background, and right now, we're discussing all these concepts, and they're sounding a bit foreign and hard to grasp for him. Is there something he can do to give him at least a strong foundation or basis so that he can keep following? What can he do to catch up or understand these concepts more? Did I get your question better?
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Okay,
question.
so my advice is to go by what I'm doing. Okay, if we are discussing here about the units, but you should go unit by unit, no matter where we are right now, by yourself, and try to break the sessions for your understanding. Read a couple of times. Use the ChatGPT. I'm always using ChatGPT to explain me when I have a question. I'm asking ChatGPT, please explain me this on the way for me to understand, to better understand. You can play with them. Please explain me like I'm 5 years old. So this is what I'm doing. And then I'm breaking on topic to topic. So I'm communicating with ChatGPT. If something is not, familiar for me, or I'm having concerns, then I'm asking that. Okay, what is that? What is that? Then I'm keeping the board like that. I have a big board, and I'm writing down on the paper. So I'm making like a mind map for me to understand and condense everything, because the topic is really huge. So you need, how somehow to condense all of these things.
Yeah.
That's my
Sure.
advice. How I'm basically doing.
What about you,
Thank you.
Jiten? You were going to say something? I think your mic is unmuted or muted.
No,
No, I've just taken down what it is.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I've just taken down what you said. I will try to exploit it in that sense.
Yeah. As for me, what I can say is just like Peter, I'm using a lot of AI to understand concepts as well. I think for me, at least, I learn by doing. So I learn faster by so if I get the concept, so let me just share the screen. So what I did is, obviously, I like to be organized in things. So maybe use this if it helps for you, if you're the organized type, because I think if you're in engineering, you need to have a system or a method to go about doing things, right? So what I did is I took all the lessons from Sailor Academy and put them on Google Docs, and I also added links to the additional readings on there. And so they link to the other review lessons, and all of that is in the Discord resources file, so you can find it there. So go one step at a time, okay? So for example, in Unit 3, these were the objectives. And so read through the units, and then by the time you're done with one of the section, ask yourself these questions. Do I know what delta model is? Do I know this? Do I know that? Do I know that? If you can answer that. The easiest way I was able to go through these sections is by preparing these slides. So even if, there's the saying where you don't understand. So there's, I think, Varuna from Sailor Academy was telling us these things on how to learn. Maybe there's a video on that on the discussion forum. Is you learn in different steps, different stages. The first time you go over it, there's maybe like 20% that you retain. You go a second time, you need to be able to remember things, and then the third time, you need to be able to explain things. Once you're able to explain things, then you know you got it. So for you, as far as actionable steps, I would say go through a small section, okay, B, and then just whenever you're lost or confused, just research. Okay, go on Google, ChatGPT, explain to me what system lock in this, blah blah blah. Maybe watch YouTube videos and everything.
I also want to add something. Sorry for interrupting you.
No
It's
problem.
it's really I think I get him why he is not condensing it. It's really crucial for this topic to understand the first unit, because the first unit is the core to learn what is the business strategy, what is organization strategy. Even I'm right now stuck in the first unit and trying to condense everything, because you need to learn first what is organization strategy. There is a lot of words calling strategy. So your brain is going to be like mashed potato. You will think that everything is strategy, but you have organizational strategy, you have organization strategy, and you have business strategy. Then you have like from down. That's the first thing. Now you should learn the tool, how to implement the business strategy. Once when you learn what is the business strategy, then that's why it's the core unit is unit 1. If you don't get unit 1, then do not go anywhere else until you finish unit 1.
Yeah,
This
perfect.
happened to
And
me. I look in everything else because I didn't know what is what. What is business strategy? What is organization strategy? What is what? But when I learned exactly, when my mind, understood everything, then I start to continue to see, okay, now this is the one strategy, this is another strategy, this is the tools for that. So that's why it's meaningful. Then that's why it's really easy after that to condense everything.
yeah, I hope that makes sense, Andrew. Last thing I will say is for every step of the way, always try to find a real world example or a business that is doing this so that you can maybe follow them along, right? Maybe a local business that you know, because this applies everywhere. You'll start seeing identity. Yeah.
I'm applying. I would plan to open the restaurant soon. So I'm applying with that kind of business, with my business, first of all, what I will do in my business. Then I'm creating, imagining my future, how I'm going to be there, and how I will use these tools for that.
Yeah.
Technology and
Perfect.
tools.
Yeah. So you're gonna be in a monopolistic competition.
Sounds good like that.
Yeah. Jitin, any final words of wisdom, and then close this for us?
I
No,
think
I was about to ask another question. You don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Sorry. So I think you interrupted Jitin. He was about to say something, I believe. I just heard a part of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Peter is correct, and I think we will crack it. It's a long journey, but yeah, with these sessions and all, I'm sure we'll crack it. I understand Andrew's point coming from an engineering background, but yeah, I think ChatGPT or AI should be our friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. You had another question, Andrew?
Yes, because I'm also confronted to things like more economic things like that. So I was asking myself if there maybe is beside the strategic management course, maybe I should go and fetch something else. I don't know, because I feel like there is still something lacking, because there are some things that you people improve, things more. It is like it is new to me, things like that. So I don't know if there is also other external things I should do
Yeah.
besides the strategic management?
Yeah,
Oh.
there is actually. If you read before taking the course, if you read course information or something like that, there are some recommended courses. So go back to the Sailor Academy where you registered for this course, and then you'll see. I think one of them is accounting. There's another one in business or something like that. I get what you mean. It's just like you cannot start learning differential equations before doing trigonometry or before doing calculus 1, right?
Yeah.
Same idea. Maybe you can't start this course before at least having an understanding of business structure, like he was saying, Peter, or other things, accounting and stuff like that. So take a look at that, and then also on their sessions on Wednesdays or something like that. If you join, you can ask Varuna. There's also a chat or support tickets that you can open on the platform to ask them. I hope that answers your question. Hopefully, perfect. Hopefully, there's more understanding now. At least we've opened ourselves to units 3. We'll catch whoever is going to be available on Wednesday. Thanks for showing up, guys, and being a bit extra with the time here. I know we're over, but I appreciate it, guys. And I guess I'll catch you next time.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.